Our way of life is under attack. The survival of our friends is in danger.
There's a new housing plan for the ghetto eventually. Projects for a new American century. False flag terrorism controlling you mentally. The gospel in the hands of people with no empathy. A mixture of dangerous social chemistry between law enforcement and a military entity. Cameras on the corner of every corner you facing. Testing out a future Gestapo on immigration. Power, consolidation, information restricted. Just like the iron law of oligarchy predicted. Incarcerating the poor among the drug addicted. But not the families of the ruling class that's afflicted. Cause it's a caste system like corrupted Hinduism. I think you should listen. I've been through the system in prison. I've been through religion. Carried the cross as a Christian. Like it was anti-disestablishmentarianism. Until the seeds of despotism arrested my vision.
All of that's true. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Ukradowski of WeAreChange.org, and it looks like we are going through a huge spree of censorship and silencing of political forces by the powers that be that are absolutely on a digital book-burning rampage as we speak right now. Yes, lots of things happening that are very important to understand, including even with the intro video that we started off this broadcast with, which you might know if you've been watching this channel since we interviewed both of them, R.A. the Rugged Man and Immortal Technique. And now, according to R.A. the Rugged Man, this video is being suppressed. So, that's why we decided to play a short clip of it in the beginning of this video. If you want to watch the full video, well, of course, the link is down in the description below. To, of course, combat the suppression that, of course, is also hitting art and music. And historically, this always happens. When you first start to ban political speech, then you start to ban comedy, then art, then music, and we're back into repeating some of the most awful moments in human existence. I don't want that, and if you don't want it as well, you're definitely watching the right channel. Now, before we talk about the censorship, it's also important to talk about individuals like Bill Gates that rarely face any kind of critique. As of course, recently we know that Bill Gates became the largest farmland owner in all of the United States. All of this as, of course, he's pushing for lockdown restrictions and congratulating China on their dealing with last year's sickness. And as Bill Gates lectures you about how lockdowns and destroying your small businesses and living within your means is great for you and great for everyone else, he's literally buying up things left and right that should be worrisome to everyone, as we just found out moments ago that Bill Gates became the largest owner of the Canadian National Railway Service known as CN. Of course, the Canadian National Railway System, which of course spans not only all throughout Canada, but also north and south of the Mississippi. Another very key piece of infrastructure in the hands of Bill Gates, who looks like he's on a buying spree of assets as he's becoming very close to controlling the entire food supply in this country from farm to table. Last year, Bill Gates told you that these lockdowns and restrictions of normal life will end in 2021. Now he's telling you 2022, as of course the establishment is even playing with the idea of extending lockdowns to, quote, save the planet, which, if you remember, many years ago was offered up as a solution to deal with the, quote, CO2 problem, even before the global sickness. So yeah, as the mainstream media fails to cover these important facts, we are deciding to cover it, even though we face a lot of censorship because of that. And this is why we wanted to remind you that your support of this independent media organization is absolutely critical to its existence. There's many ways you could very easily support us through Venmo, Cash App, cryptocurrencies, PayPal, Stripe, Patreon, Subscribestar, our own services, physical mail, even ways of without spending a single money or checking out some products that you like. Trust me, we had to figure out every single way to still continue to do business, and we luckily still are. Shirts, you name it, we got it. Socks, masks, hats, phone cases, whatever your need is, it's all available on wearechange.org/donate. For the few of those that do help out, I can't sincerely thank you enough for all of your help and generosity. It means the world to me. Now, the online media space is definitely not an easy space to be in, especially with all the censorship that has been happening and started essentially with the movie actress and star Gina Carano, which we saw a lot of online buzz and talk about her social media posts last night, which culminated to Disney and Lucasfilms issuing a statement firing her from big-time TV shows like The Mandalorian because of her social media posts. Now, when you go on Twitter, what's the first headline that they write about this particular situation? It's that, quote, this is the first thing Twitter shows you when you click on the stories. It talks about abhorrent social media posts. So, what did Gina post here? And it's this post from her Instagram page, Warrior Priest Jim Podcast, where she talks about how historically in Germany before World War II, neighbors were made to hate each other because of their religion, and how most people didn't realize that in Germany at that time, it wasn't the soldiers, it wasn't police that were rounding up and beating people up because of their religion, but it was literally their fellow citizenry that was doing this to themselves. And that's a very important point to make here. She didn't point out Antifa. She didn't point out Joe Biden. She didn't point out Donald Trump. She made an important historical point to what actually happened, to what we shouldn't repeat. And that's why Gina was taken down? Are you freaking kidding me? That's ridiculous. The establishment, the mainstream media, leftist politicians were calling everyone Germans in World War II, but now bringing up historical references to moments in time that should be considered is outrageous to them? Are you kidding me? It's abhorrent according to Twitter and their framing of this with the mainstream media? It's not. It's a good post that deserves to be shared, promoted, and of course widely talked about and discussed. Debate it for all you want, but these larger canceling efforts which have been cheered on by the mainstream media, blue check marked schizophrenic, mentally ill people, is absolutely insane and wild, especially when you compare it to the utter hypocrisy, especially with Lucasfilms, especially with Disney, as of course they had a previous star that compared Trump supporters to Germans in World War II. They never did anything about this. They also had other individuals going after Donald Trump, comparing the situation with the migrants on the borders to the camps in Germany, even though many people point out that there are some reports that the picture taken was actually under the Biden-Obama administration and not under the Trump administration, of course, with Biden and Obama introducing this policy initially, but that's beyond the point here. There's other individuals tied to, of course, Disney that released memes like this, literally calling for children who believed in Donald Trump and to make America great again to be thrown inside of wood chippers hats first. Absolute calls for violence, those are okay, those are tolerated, and when you compare the other behaviors of individuals connected to Disney one way or another, it definitely seems like essentially Disney is here just discriminating against women for doing what their male actors were doing just a few months ago. Pure outright discrimination of a brave pop culture icon speaking out and being brave enough to actually start a conversation about what's happening right now. And what was the response by, of course, the establishment, the mainstream media, blue check liberals, the Disney Corporation, which of course has extensive ties to China. You would think the company doing business with China that's responsible for the Uyghur genocide and their camps that they have in China, for organ harvesting, for destroying and enslaving a large swamp of humanity, would first, deal with that problem before virtue signaling and trying to get rid and cancel Gina Carano for her political opinion. But no, here we are today. And as Tim Pool points out, quote, they had to cancel Gina Carano because she was brave enough to speak out. And it surely looks like that is essentially the major understanding of this from everyone. They want to silence, they want to scare anyone from speaking out against them. And what perfect way to do this than this? And of course, it never just stops with one person. This started an avalanche of other censorship efforts that the mainstream media journalists absolutely have bloodlust for. It's as if they're smelling bloody chum in the water, and they're the bottom feeders that eat the poop from the sharks that actually swallow everyone up. I think that's a fair analogy to make here, if you allow me to be a little facetious and less professional. But MSNBC is also cheering on how, quote, a dangerous person, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has been banned from Instagram. Again, the framing here is absolutely key. It's absolutely ridiculous. And as Michael Tracy points out, quote, corporate officials unilaterally decreeing what information is too dangerous for adults to consume online seems like the real danger here. And he is absolutely right. He hits the nail on the head. As of course, free speech is paramount towards the progression of humanity and us being able to grow, build, and become better. The thing stopping it is, of course, silencing speech, which a lot of the establishment is, of course, cheering on for as the mainstream media journalists sell you out to, of course, the highest bidders, literally pennies on the dollar, to puppeteer their PR talking points about how great it is that only a few tech billionaires get to decide what you get to hear and not hear. Again, absolutely ridiculous. And it's creating a situation that, in my opinion, could lead to the destruction of the United States. When you have such large institutional censorship efforts, you will lead towards a brain drain in a society that is too afraid to even voice any kind of objection towards the status quo that goes unchecked, unabided, and continues in the absolutely wrong direction that it's already headed in. Why would anyone want to come and work in the United States when they know that they can't even express any form of opinion against the orthodoxy in a culture that gets off if they censor you and hurt you? That's not something I want to be a part of, and that's something that, of course, hurts everyone. Now, of course, it's not only just Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that got his account canceled. The Washington Post is, of course, cheering on how Facebook and YouTube deleted another film. Twitter accounts for James O'Keefe and Project Veritas have been locked and limited from releasing information as we speak right now, as, of course, they just confronted a Facebook official about this very issue. So yeah, Project Veritas confronting a Facebook official about censorship is leading to them being censored. What a surprise there. Again, this is ridiculous. This is utterly insane. The music video that we began with, that, by the way, is not made by right-wingers, is not made by Donald Trump supporters, is not conservative, but yet YouTube says that the video is, quote, claiming election-related content, and of course is limiting its views and suppressing it, even though this video wasn't about the election. He's not, of course, the only one, as we're getting other information that people like Tom McDonald, who, by the way, I'm surprised by with his lyrics and his music that are also extremely eye-opening and very well done. There's a lot of reports of his music also being censored on Apple Music, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. As of course, censorship of political speech is just a slippery slope towards the arts, towards the music, towards any form of creative expression that inspires you or makes you think. To the establishment, that is the biggest threat against them, and that's why we're seeing such just utterly desperate, pathetic moves, trying to make sure that your ears can't hear specific words. That whole spectrum of thinking that you could control what I get to discern is absolutely insane. And of course, not to be outdone, also moments ago, Twitter executives just came out and they announced that Trump is banned forever, even if he decides to run for president again. Gee, what a surprise there. That's my take on it. What did you think? If you think I was wrong in any way, shape, or form, let me know why in the comment section below. This video would not be possible if it wasn't for you, incredible, amazing human beings, double-clicking the link and sending it to your friends, family members, randoms, exes. Send this to your ex. This is a great idea. Right now, think of your ex, hopefully one that you're on good terms with, and just send them this video. Let me know what they say also in the comment section below. I hope it's not too weird for you, but hey, sharing is caring. I love you guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.